pengundi diminta bertenang dan memberikan kerjasama. Duduk, jangan lari. Kita tak mahu ada yang lari kerana ianya mungkin akan menyebarkan orang-orang lain yang
Malaysians joined the morning rush hour and many heading to banks, shops and restaurants. Most have been closed since March the 18th, when the lockdown was first imposed to contain the spread of the virus.
Many past weeks that we have to choose who lives and who dies.
Now, it's not immediately clear how
Who gets a shot at living?
areas in and around this major wholesale wet market, Myanmarese, succumb to the virus, said Health Director General Dr. Nur Hisham.
Hi everyone, today we will share some information regarding the COVID-19 pandemic which has affected the growth of the economy and the society in Malaysia.
Sarah, do you know what COVID-19 is?
Based on my knowledge, coronavirus disease COVID-19 is an infectious disease caused by the SARS-CoV-2 virus. Most people infected with the virus will experience mild to moderate respiratory illness and recover without requiring special treatment. However, some will become seriously ill and require medical attention.
As I know, COVID-19 has affected our country's economy for quite a long time as well. As I see, is the tourism sector in Malaysia, like in many other countries, has been significantly affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Several factors contribute to the economic impact on Malaysia tourism sector. First is travel restriction and lockdown. To control the spread of the virus, Malaysia implemented travel restriction and lockdowns, both domestically and internationally. This led to a sharp decline in the number of tourists visiting the country, as people were unable or unwilling to travel. There is border closures which making it difficult for foreign tourists to enter Malaysia, and also with lockdowns and movement restrictions in place, domestic tourism also suffered. People were discouraged from travel within the country, leading to a decline in domestic tourist activities, affecting businesses in the tourism sector.
In terms of transportation services, airlines and other transportation services were severely affected by the decline in travel. Reduced demand for flights and other models of transportation led to financial losses and operational challenges for these businesses.
In terms of hotel accommodation sector, with a decrease in tourist arrival, hotel, resort and other accommodation providers experienced a decline in occupancy rates. Many establishments face financial challenges due to reduced booking and had to implement cost-cutting measures, including laying off employees.
Fourth, impact on small businesses. Many small businesses that depend on tourism, such as local shops, restaurants and tour operators, face economic hardship due to the decline in customers. Some businesses were forced to close permanently, leading to job losses and a negative impact on the overall economy. In summary, the COVID-19 pandemic has faced a multi-phase impact on Malaysia's tourism sector, affecting businesses, employment and the overall economy.
In general, service sectors such as accommodation or hospitality, transportations and more have contributed more than half of the country's GDP in 2019 at 58%, and are projected to grow by 6.2%, with most of its subsectors projected to grow the same momentum. However, there is no denying that when the COVID-19 pandemic hit the country, the Malaysian tourism sector was severely affected in various ways when tourists were blocked from travelling in Malaysians. In 2019, the tourism industry contributed 6.7% of Malaysia's total gross domestic product (GDP), but will decrease by 2% in 2020. COVID-19 influence on the hotel industry has broader consequences for economic growth. Hotel booking and occupancy rates decline have resulted in decreased income, job losses, and financial strain in the hotel business. This, in turn, has an impact on the broader economic since it reduces consumer spending, reduces state revenues, and causes disruptions in associated sectors such as food service, transportations, and local companies that serve to the tourism. The issue faced by the hotel industry have a detrimental impact on economic growth, as tourism-related activity play a key role in many countries across the world. The hotel industry reserves in critical for reviving an essential generator of economic growth and jobs.
Let's face it, almost everyone's been impacted in one form or another by the COVID-19 pandemic. Some have lost jobs, others have seen a drastic reduction in income. The list goes on. FMT spoke to a few people in the aviation industry, which has been one of the hardest hit industries, to find out how they've been coping thus far. Manoj Sivadas, a ground operations manager at Kuala Lumpur International Airport, said that almost all the baggage handlers, check-in staff, and arrival crew under his care had taken up extra jobs to stay afloat. He said that ground staff had been more than halved, with just 300 workers at a time to cater for the reduction in flights, with some axed and others placed on no-pay leave.
The COVID-19 pandemic also impact on the transportation sector in Malaysia, affecting various modes of transportations and overall mobility of people and goods. First of all is the air travel disruptions. The aviation industry in Malaysia, like in many other countries, face significant disruptions. Travel restrictions, lockdowns, and concerns about the virus lead to a drastic reduction in air travel. For example, Minister of Transportation at that time, Datuk Sri Wee Ka Siong, on July 21 informed to the Dewan Rakyat that the country aviation industry is expected to lose around 13 billion at that year, including losses of 10.9 billion equated by the local airline Malaysia. For example, Malaysia Airlines Berhad, Air Asia Group Berhad, and Malindo Airways Sdn Berhad. Next one is decline in public transportation uses. Public transport, including bus, trains, and taxis, saw a decline in ridership due to the lockdowns, social distancing measures, and the overall decrease in the travel demand. People's reluctance to use public transport for fear of infections also contributed to reduced passengers numbers. They like to travel or move using their own transportations. Following that, some companies had to fight to avoid greater financial losses. Some had to sell assets or lay off employees and their service.
First suggestion is on having social protection programs. Malaysia have implemented various social protection programs to mitigate the impact of COVID-19. The government aimed to support individuals, especially those who lost their jobs or face financial difficulties due to the pandemic. The UNFPA and UNICEF agencies emphasize the need to reimagine social protection for the most vulnerable in Malaysia through an expansion of coverage of income support for low-income families and provision of targeted livelihood support, particularly for the self-employed. These measures were crucial in helping alleviate some of the economic strains caused by COVID-19. The package that offered by the government, namely the Prihatin Pejana, Bantuan Prihatin Raya and Bantuan Prihatin Nasional.
Next is accelerate the digitalization in society. What are the things that government can do is accelerate digitalization in society. Since the arrival of COVID-19, many industries starting to utilize internet and maximize the usage of digital device. For example, setting up the online store platform like Shopee, Lazada and TikTok. Many people using this platform in the times of pandemic in order to gain an income. By accelerate the digitalization in society, what government can do is upgrading the internet connection. This can increase the productivity of the seller that using online platform. Luckily, especially for us, government in the process of upgrading the 4G connection to the 5G connection. The faster internet connection has been tested out by the people in the metropolitan city, and it is really fast to the point that it can help to increase the productivity. Another way to accelerate the digitalization is by decreasing the price of the digital device like in the smartphone and computer. If more people use smartphone, for example, then it will be likely more people that will be use the smartphone to buy or even selling. This can benefit the economic sector because more people will use this feature.
Increase citizen burden during pandemic. Another suggestion that we add is government can decreasing citizen burden during pandemic. In the time of pandemic, buying power in majority of citizens decreased drastically. It is so serious that it can lead to the poverty since even the basic needs cannot be fulfilled by the most of the household. Government also can help the citizen by reducing the price of the essential things like foods, electricity and water bill. This is because many of them lose their job. At least this can help lighten up their burden. Moratorium is also another effort that can be done by the government to help in decreasing the burden of the citizen. Citizens can ask for moratorium and that will be enable them to skip the payment of the loan for 6 months for period. This can be applied to all citizens from B40 to T20. By implementing this, government will slowly increase buying power in our society during lockdown phase. This will help the government